Hello orchid lovers. So this is my latest update. As you can see, I have my first Cattleya bloom and she's a stunner. Each bloom is slightly different. This is the Fire Wings Pegasus, the Cattleya that I got very recently. I've only had her for 2 weeks. So she's doing happy, as you can see. She has other things going on. I'll update you with them in a minute. I just really wanted to show you guys also all of my blooms. This is the Elegant Karen Aloha. I've had her for, let me see. Brain's not working. Think. I think probably 2 weeks. I don't know if the color really shows up, but she's kind of like a greenish yellow overall, and then she has like a burgundy, almost blood red spotting, and then some yellow inside her lip. So she's really pretty. I got her in bloom. She had like 2 buds, but so she should be blooming probably for a good couple of weeks still. Along with her, I got the Harlequin, and she got lots of blooms. Lots and lots and lots. And her last bud is opening. This is all one spike that has branched. So she's a pretty happy girl. Her flower spike is still going. Let's see if I can focus for you there. I know this gave me trouble last video too. So let me see what I can do. Nope. I mean, you can kind of see it, but it's blurry. But it's there. Oh, there we go. So it hasn't really grown too much. It's slightly larger, more noticeable, but not that much. So she's doing pretty good. She should be blooming for a while as well. Why is this not focusing for me? There we go. So where do we go next? Okay, let's go to, I've had this one and the Pirate Picante. I know I'm not saying that name right, and I apologize. I've had them both for 2 months, and they've been in water culture for 2 months. Well, 2.5 months. Officially, I've been doing water culture for three months, dating back to my oldest vows. These 2 buds opened for me. They were just buds when I got them. She was missing some flowers when I got her. These were all open when I got her, and I've had her for 2.5 months. So she's lasted a really long time. I did lose 1 bloom, and now this one's starting to go as well. But, I mean, who knows how long she had those blooms when I got her, and I've had her for 2.5 months, and she still has blooms. So I say that's pretty good. I mean, her blooms are beautiful. Just beautiful. And she's the one that has the crazy amazing roots that just go on for days. They are starting to relax, so I put her in a larger vase to accommodate them so that they can grow and they won't feel root bound anymore. She's doing pretty good. Her nodes on her spikes seem to be plumping, so maybe they're going to branch, but you know, I don't know. I think she's doing pretty good. So we'll see what she wants to give me. The other orchid that I got, same time I got her, the Pirate Picante, it's not doing as well. She lost all of the blooms on this one, which isn't a big deal. I mean, like I said, I've had her for 2 months. She never opened these buds, but they're starting to split. So it's possible that they're going to open now. The little mitten hasn't browned, so she could get more buds potentially, but she's dropping her blooms very quickly. And that may just be that she opened her blooms very quickly, and so she then now is dropping them very quickly. But her roots are not happy. Oh, we're missing a petal there. I never even noticed that. Okay, so these are her roots. So they were starting to rot, and I think that might have something to do with why her flowers suddenly are starting to drop. And this is something that I've decided to do now with the roots that are rotting. Instead of cutting them off, I'm just removing the velamen and letting the roots still continue to hydrate the plant. I've proven with my oldest orchid that the old roots, even if there's no velamin, will hydrate the plant. So therefore, in theory, if I take the velamin off of these roots, it may not get hydrated as well, but it is water culture, so it's constantly in contact with water, constantly giving the orchid an opportunity to drink. So I'm going to leave these roots here and see what happens. I've noticed too that when a root is rotting and it's close to another root that's healthy, it has a tendency to rot the healthy root. Like you can see this one rotted because it was in close contact with this one that was rotting. And then the rest of it that wasn't in close contact is fine. So that's what I'm doing. It may work, it may fail, I don't know, but I have to do something for her because she's slowly losing her roots. Whatever's in the water, coincidentally, is really happy, and then whatever's sitting above the water in the air, I don't know, maybe that's not getting enough air circulation. I did move her a little higher in the pot, in the mug, so she's a little closer to the air circulation. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing with her. So now I'll show you the phals that I bought online. This is the Young Home Sweetie. Beautiful, beautiful bloom. Just the hot purple veining. And then this like really, really pink, almost purple lip and the spots, just gorgeous. Tiny, tiny, tiny little blooms, but it is the first time this plant is blooming, so that may be the reason that she has such tiny blooms. And she's opening her blooms so slowly. She's so stinking stingy. This one's opening finally. Still has a bud on this side. Everything blasted from here forward. But the tip looks like it's developing, so I could potentially get, come on, more blooms. No, it's too close. I don't know what I was thinking. And then this one is also opening, so that's good. This bud is still there. The tip is still in good shape, even though those blooms, those little buds blasted. Her roots are okay. They're not spectacular, but they're not terrible. They're not rotting. I did notice that one was branching, but whether or not I'm going to be able to find it right now is negligible. So I don't think so. You're just gonna have to take my word for it. She is branching. She has a green growing tip somewhere off of a regular root. This is the Fuller's Gold Stripe. Cute, adorable little blooms on this one too. Very cool colors. Not what I expected. I expected it to be a yellow orchid with red and orange stripes. I guess the picture I saw wasn't very clear. It's actually like a yellow-green orchid with purple stripes, which to me is just stunning. I mean, I'm holding it and trying to focus on it, and that's not going to work. Look at that. Beautiful. And then you have the white on the inside and that little hint of yellow. She is much, much easier about giving up her blooms. A lot of them are opening. So she's blooming a little quicker than the Young Home Sweetie. She still has some buds, but beautiful. And she also has 2 secondary spikes here that are developing. Her roots are really happy. They're very green, no rotting, just really, really happy. So that makes me happy. Now, I know this isn't orchid related, but I'm really excited, and so I had to share. I've been trying to grow a stinking avocado plant forever. And they always just fail and rot, and look at that! I'm so excited! Not only did it get roots, it's sprouting. So I gotta do research and figure out what to do with it now, but I've never had one do that before, so I'm really, really happy. There must be something I'm doing right lately because my plants is happy. Okay, so we're gonna come back over here and I'm gonna show you my 3 ICU phals. This is the one that I've had for 3 months in water culture. It's the one that I've had for a year. That leaf is doing fantastic. It is growing. I mean, the end split, but you know, that happened a while ago. I'm going to put it back down and I'll film it this way. So this leaf is doing really good. It's even bigger than it was in my last update video, which I did last week. The nubs, I'm trying to get light on it here. The nubs of roots are growing. Come on. This camera's being very unfriendly today. And this is the reason why I made the conclusion that orchids can still hydrate themselves off of old roots that have no velamin. This orchid has had no roots for months. Months. The only thing hydrating it has been that. I put the longest roots down in the water. Roots with no velamin, old roots that have been cut. And this orchid is still alive. The leaf is growing. It's not like taking off, but I mean, look, see, that's another root right there growing. Hopefully one day soon it will burst forth and we will have a root going down into the water. But I mean, like I've said in past videos, this is a little more wrinkled and not quite as firm as I'd like, but hey, it's not dead. And it should by all accounts be dead, and it shouldn't be doing anything at all, and it's growing a leaf and roots. So I am over the moon about that one. This is a mini fowl. This is one of the ones I thought I was gonna lose. She's still not doing great, but her leaves are perking up. She did lose the one leaf under this one that I, was turning yellow in the last video. She still has 2 roots, so that's good. This root, let me see if I can get it to focus, is branching. If you can see that little nub right there, there you go. It is branching. This is another one that I'm sticking just the tip of the root down and hovering the oldest part right above the water. And that seems to be doing this one pretty well. So this one has a long way to recover. I'd really love to see a new leaf forming on this one, but I don't yet. So this is the Phalaenopsis with the big bright pink blooms that all the blooms dropped off. It was in that draft, that cold air draft, and it was losing its leaves, and I couldn't understand why. I figured that the blooms fell because of the draft, but I couldn't understand why the leaves were going so quickly. I mean, she had 3 or 4 leaves per side, and all of a sudden they just started dropping like flies. And her roots are happy. She doesn't have rotten roots. Her roots are green, her roots are firm, and she was still dropping leaves. This one's starting to yellow, but this one we understand because this is the one that was, from the very beginning, not in great shape. So I understand her losing this one. I just didn't understand why she was losing the others. And then last week, after I did my update video, I noticed that she had a really strong smell. Like really strong pesticides, like someone had sprayed the crap out of this orchid with pesticides. And if you'll remember, when I got her, she was in sphagnum moss and she was full of bugs. So it made me think to myself, maybe someone kind of overdid it with the pesticide spray and now she's kind of paying the price for it. I mean, she just started developing this leaf maybe a couple days ago and it's growing really fast. So maybe there is hope for this orchid, but she still smells so bad like pesticides. I mean, like straight up, not even diluted pesticides. She stinks. She reeks. So I think maybe whatever they did to try to get rid of the bugs is kind of working against her. So again, we'll have to see with her what happens, but that's her story. So now let's move on to my Oncidium Shari baby. So she's doing really good. I unfortunately am still pulling moss out of her roots. She was in moss. She was in a container that was clearly too small for her. She needed to be repotted. I mean, her roots were growing out the side. They're still kind of in the back in the form. I'm going to go the other way because I don't want to hurt her spike. In the form of her, like over here, there's just like a big clump that I'm slowly trying to relax. Her newest pseudobulbs are doing really well. This one, you can't feel anything yet, so it's actually a new growth, not a pseudobulb. This one, you can, if you can feel it from this side, which you can't do with this hand, there is a pseudobulb forming. I look down in her leaves, I don't see any spikes, but this is clearly one of those oncidiums that flowers off of mature pseudobulbs, because this flower spike is off of this pseudobulb. So this is pretty far advanced, and now she's spiking. And this spike, oh, there it is, it ends finally. This spike was 4 inches smaller just a week ago when I did my last video. So I'd say she's happy. I think she's happy. 4 inches in a week, not bad, especially considering, like I said, I'm pretty sure that's going to have to at least double in size before it's going to start to get buds. Judging by what I've seen from other YouTubers, that's going to have to happen before she's going to get any bigger. So now we'll move on to my beautiful Cattleya. So she came with these buds. I can't take credit for these buds, but I'm very happy with them. Like I said, she has like a tea rose fragrance. So it's a very, very faint, pretty smell. I don't know if it's going to develop into a stronger smell. Some orchids just barely have a smell, a scent, and some they make the whole room smell. So like the miniature Phalaenopsis that I have, when she was blooming, she had a pretty hefty smell to her. So we'll see if the smell develops. She opened a couple days ago. I wrote down the date so I'll know how long her blooms last for, because here are her next 4 buds. These were inside the sheath when I got her. I did cut the sheath, and she just took off from there. That seemed to make her happy. This one looks like it's about to open. And then if you'll remember, she had still another sheath, a smaller sheath. She actually popped this open herself. I didn't cut this one. And it looks like she's got 2 buds in there. So we'll see what happens with that one. I think she's just going to get 2. She also has some new growths. They're not very far advanced, but it probably is because she's focusing on her blooms. See, there's one right there. It's not very big. It's like 1 inch. And her roots aren't that happy, as you can see. I really feel like this Cattleya and the other 2 larger Cattleyas that I have, their roots are kind of eh. And I think it's because of fertilizer burn, honestly. I feel like they really want these plants to do well so they can sell them in spike and in bloom and all that kind of stuff, which is lovely, but at the same time it kind of does damage to the roots. So we'll keep our eye on that. But she does have another smaller growth somewhere, but it's back in there somewhere, and I'm not gonna go crazy trying to find that for you. So that's her. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, sorry about the camera. These are the 4 orchids that I got, oh gosh. I left my paper over there with the dates on it, probably about a month ago, maybe a month and a half. The Vanda, the 2 Cattleyas, and the Oncidium. So the Vanda, I've changed it up a bit. I've decided, because she was in full water culture, and I decided what I'm going to do with her. So you have some green growing tips there. I've decided what I'm going to do with her is I'm going to put her in semi-water culture, but not in the traditional sense. Semi-water culture is traditionally 2 days wet and 5 days dry. I'm going to do it opposite with her. I'm going to do 5 days wet and 2 days dry. And the reason for that is her roots are green and healthy, but I feel like we're kind of teetering on the edge of too much water and possible root rot. And I don't want to lose her roots. You know, they seem to be doing really good. Like I said, there's some green growing tips. The aerial roots are starting to branch. I am soaking them every other day in tap water, just running them under the tap water and then putting paper towels on the roots, wet paper towels. And look at that. Seems to be making her happy. So, and then this one, it's got a green growing tip. So that seems to be working, but I just feel like I have this horrible suspicion that if I don't switch it and just let it dry out, maybe even just 1 day, maybe 2 days, I don't know. I'm gonna watch this one closely. I have a feeling those are gonna start to rot, and I don't want that to happen because these are old roots that were inside her basket, so they weren't in great shape. So I don't want to push my luck and say, oh, okay, they're green, they're great, they're happy, and then, oh my God, they're all rotten, and I got no roots on her. Especially considering that she does still have her spike. I'll show it to you, but it hasn't really grown that much. Well, a little bit. So I pretty much look at that every day, clap my hands like a little child, because I'm pretty excited about that. I may have mentioned that a time or two in my last video, how excited I was. Okay, so we're going to do, not this one, we'll do this one next. This is the Hausermann's Holiday, the one that my cat ate its leaves. I'm tired of talking about that part of it, so I think from now on I'm just not going to talk about that. I do want to show you, which maybe I should have left her over there and just taken her out of her pot. That's what I'm going to do. This is one-handed. This might be a bad idea. So, there we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to put her down. And then I'm going to show you. Her roots, yeah, not great. And this is the one that when she came out of the bark, her roots seemed okay. She did have a slug, she did have bugs, blah, blah, blah. But her roots seemed okay. They weren't pitted, they weren't like dried spaghetti, they were pretty hydrated, they looked good. Well, they're slowly but surely not doing so well. However, I mean, you can see right there, she has an eye that's moving. That's going to be a new growth soon. If you wouldn't already consider that a new growth now, I guess you could. Her roots, her new roots are all green tipping. They're all getting green tips. I want to spin her so I can show you her most advanced growth. As soon as I find it. Well, there you can see some more green tips. So that's good. All right. Let me just do a really poor job of filming for a second so that I can find. There it is. Okay. That's her newest growth. It is growing by leaps and bounds. So the fact that her roots are dying back, like I said, I am leaving the root. I'm taking the vellum, whatever vellum comes off of my hand when I go like this, I take it off. But whatever is left, I leave it so that it can still hydrate the plant. And that seems to be working because this growth is covered in happy sap and it's growing every single day. And her root tips on the roots for those new growths are happy and green. These are horrible, but these are happy. And she has a lot of eyes. She has, I think, 6, or was she the one with 4? One of my Cattleyas has 6, and one of them has 4. That, you know, are moving, that I see development with. So, I mean, she doesn't have any sheaths. She's probably not going to get flowers for a while. But new growths, to me, are almost as exciting. I know they're not as exciting because really, we all want them to flower, but I'll fix her in a minute. Okay, so we'll move on to the Betty Ford. So the Betty Ford is the one that came with the sheath, and then I found out that she had a flower spike developing. The sheath is still in good shape. It's not drying out. There is a slight bulge here. So this may be a Cattleya that will bloom on an old sheath and a new sheath. I don't know. We're definitely going to have to wait and see, but there is definitely a bulge in here. I don't want to squeeze too hard, but there's definitely, you can feel a little bit of a bulge. The spike is getting bigger, and I'm an idiot, and today when I was looking at this orchid, why is this camera doing this? I hate this. I just want to give you a good view. Anyways, when I was filming, when I was changing all the waters and all kinds of stuff today, I popped one of the little buds off, and I'm so upset. So I don't know how many she was gonna get, but she's gonna get one less. Because I was handling her, I was looking at her roots, and then I was looking at her new growths, and pop, came right off of my hand. Speaking of new growths, oh yeah. And then there's another one over there. She's the other one that either has 4 or 6 new growths, eyes, I'm sorry. And then look at these roots. Now this is the one that had the spaghetti roots. Look at these roots. There's green tips everywhere. So she is a very happy lady. And coincidentally, this new growth and also all these new green root tips are on the pseudobulb closest to the spike and the one with the spike. Like if you look down, the pseudobulb is the one with the next new growth. Like it's pretty happy. So she's doing really good. Hopefully I didn't completely destroy that spike by popping one of the blooms off. I'm so mad at myself. Hey, it happens, right? What are we gonna do? And then we'll keep an eye on this one and see what happens. I'll continue to keep an eye on the development inside of it and see if it's doing anything. The best way to find out is actually to shine a light through it, because then you can see if there's a shadow. And my newest news is my Saiku Marguerite. So I said with my Shari Baby, they flower off of mature pseudobulbs, but there are certain Oncidiums that don't. So, you know, I always inspect my orchids because I'm so afraid of bugs. And it's not this one, it's this one. This orchid, the pseudobulb, you can feel the pseudobulb developing in here. This one, not quite yet. But I was looking in her foliage because I was looking for bugs, and I found, look at that. That is a spike, my friends. So I'm gonna get flowers on her. So she's clearly one of those orchids that flowers on immature pseudobulbs. The pseudobulb doesn't have to be mature for her to flower. So that's pretty cool. So now that brings my spiking orchids up to 6. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, 6. So I guess you could say I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty excited. New growths, green growing tips, and flower spikes. Isn't that what every person who grows orchids wants? So this water culture thing is really working out for me. Like I said in the first video I posted on YouTube, I've been killing orchids for years. Orchids in bark just don't work for me. Orchids in water culture are working. I mean, like I said, I've only been doing this for 3 months, so, you know, it could go horribly awry at some point, but everything's pointing towards it's not going to. I was thinking of perhaps posting a video about what I do with fertilizing, because there's a lot of information on fertilizing and a lot of confusing and conflicting information, but I think I've come up with my own particular idea that seems to be working pretty good. So if you're interested, you know, let me know. I know I don't have that many subscribers, but I do have a few. So if you're interested, just let me know and I will post a video on what I do as far as watering and fertilizing. And if you have any requests, any updates on anything that, you know, you want me to update you on. I didn't include everything, pretty much everything. There's like 4 orchids that I didn't include in this. So if you want me to, you know, update you on anything else, or you want a little more in-depth information about one of these orchids, just let me know and I'll do so. Otherwise, happy growing and thanks for checking out my video.